Check, check. Yo, 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 what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Wake the Love Up. It's your boy Burnell Washburn sending you all the love, all the good vibes. So grateful for you tuning in. I have a powerful episode in store for you today. I'm feeling really good and I just felt inspired to come on here and speak from the heart. So first and foremost, I just want to say huge, massive thank you to everyone who's been supporting this podcast. Whether you've been screenshotting it and putting it on your Instagram stories, or you've been supporting my Patreon page, throwing $5 or $10 a month, or you've just been messaging me, letting me know little takeaways and breakthroughs you're having from these episodes. All of that is just helping so much. I think the last 2 episodes are like the most downloaded, biggest numbers we've ever had. So I can't thank you guys enough. Please keep spreading the word. Make sure to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes, or wherever you're listening. If you're listening on YouTube, drop a comment, shoot me a message. All these things not only help the algorithms, but they help kind of inspire me to keep going and help more people see it. So I really appreciate you guys. I can't thank you enough. This is a huge part of my dharma, part of my mission, part of my soul's purpose to be helping uplift, inspire, and wake up the love. So I can't thank you guys enough for helping me do this, for helping me fulfill my purpose. And yeah, I'm really excited about the trajectory of this whole podcast, impacting lives, helping people make positive changes and shifts. Some of you guys have been messaging me, telling me that you're listening to, the same episode over and over again, getting more and more out of it each time. Some of you guys are saying that you're binge listening, that you'll have these episodes on like all day while you're working or whatever. So keep that up. Let's keep spreading the love. Let's keep waking the love up and growing the soul tribe, because it is working. People are making beautiful shifts in their life, and it's cool to be able to help each other rise up like this. So I'm feeling really good. I have an episode today all about optimizing your health, all about really stepping into new levels of wellness and vitality. And I want to talk about something that I just kind of came up with this morning called a spiritual oil change. I was thinking about cars and how cars need everything running right in order to run. You can't be like, all right, well, my battery's like brand new and it's really good, but I don't have any gas in the car and expect it to run. Or, you have your gas is filled up, your battery's great, but your fuel pump went out, so then no fuel's getting to the engine, your car's not going to go anywhere. Or you have this car that's working great and you don't have the keys for it, and so you can't turn it on and do anything with it. And that's kind of like a beautiful analogy for our health and wellness. Everything is connected: mind, body, spirit, soul. Like, it's all one. And often we compartmentalize different areas of our well-being and think that things are going to run great and we can just ignore certain parts of it. Like, some people think that like sleep is not that important. Oh, I don't need much sleep. I can get by with 3 hours of sleep or whatever. Or no matter what time I go to bed, I still wake up at like 5 a.m. And people brag, especially entrepreneurs and stuff, brag about how little sleep they get. Or people think that like they can be healthy on all these levels and then just ignore other categories of health and wellness. So I was thinking about it like a car, and I was like, you would not expect your car to be like running great if a certain part of your engine or a certain part of the car was out of commission. Like, you wouldn't just be like, well, I don't know, like, I have no idea why it's running. My battery's good. And it's like, well, yeah, but you're out of gas. Or you like have plenty of gas, but your battery's dead, and you're like, I don't understand why my car won't start. Like, I have gas in there. And it's all holistic. So I take a holistic approach to wellness, health, and well-being. The further I go on this journey, the more I realize how connected everything is. That's why I always say, how you do one thing is how you do all things. How you do anything is how you do everything. And it's all connected and all impacts each other. It's like the butterfly effect. You can't change you can't change one thing without affecting everything, like in the micro and the macro. It's all affecting each other in profound ways. So I want to talk a little bit about some of my practices, some of my habits and routines, some tools that you can apply to your life that just help you tap into a more optimal level of health and wellness. So the first pillar of health and wellness to me is our consciousness, our awareness, which is really the deepest essence of what we truly are. We are consciousness, we are awareness. We are not the mind, we are not our bodies, we are not our emotions or our thoughts. You know, these are all things that we have, but what we really are is just pure consciousness, just pure loving awareness. So the first, really understanding that you need to grasp in order to like tap into an optimal life is really understanding that everything is made out of energy and everything carries with it a frequency, a vibration, and it's all affecting each other. So our thoughts and our emotions are key, and that's one of the first pillars that we need to have on lock. You know, you could be drinking all the right waters, eating all the right food, sleeping good, doing all the other things, exercising, you name it. And if you're still thinking negative thoughts, if you're still, and not to say that you're never going to think negative thoughts, but if you're being ran by negative programs and negative emotions are constantly running the show, it doesn't really matter if you're doing all the other things right. You're still not going to be at an optimal level, and you're going to open up this space for a lot more suffering and a lot more pain. So that's the first pillar that we need to take care of, is our consciousness, and then really dialing in our frequency and our thoughts and emotions. Thoughts are electric, feelings are magnetic, and together that's how we create reality. When our thoughts and our emotions are aligned in harmony with each other. That's why Dr. Joe Dispenza always talks about heart-brain coherence, and if you've looked into the Institute of Heart Math too, that's what they're all about, is when our thoughts and emotions are aligned, then we can create the life of our dreams, like with ease, grace, and flow. So that's the first pillar, really just like stepping in. What are we thinking and feeling? What are we focusing on? What are we putting our energy and our attention towards? Because that's what we're going to create more of. Thoughts become things. Where attention goes, energy flows. What we focus on expands. I love repeating all these cliches because they're so true, and I can always use those reminders. And really just dialing in the thoughts and the feelings and getting those where you want to be. Regardless of what your current circumstances are, you can consciously choose to think and feel beyond your current circumstances. You can feel rich regardless of how much money's in your bank account. You can feel healthy regardless of what physical conditions might be surfacing right now in the present moment. And in fact, that's the best way to shift whatever's physically happening, is by first shifting the consciousness behind it and shifting the emotions and the thoughts, and reframing it, telling new stories around it, etc. So consciousness is the first pillar. To me, the second most important pillar, and all of them are really equally important, but the second area that I focus on when I'm working with my coaching clients and just trying to help people become the healthiest, happiest versions of themselves is sleep. I have a couple episodes all about sleep. Sleep is so important. It's basically 1/3 of our life, and it dramatically impacts the other 2/3 of our life. So like how you do everything, how you do anything is how you do everything. How you sleep is how you live awake. You know what I mean? So we can't get into a place of thinking that our sleep is not important, or that, like I hear a lot of, especially like entrepreneurs will brag about how little sleep they get, and kind of wear it as like some sort of badge of honor, badge of pride, of like, I don't even need much sleep, and look how I hustle and I grind all the time. I'll sleep when I'm dead, and like that's kind of some toxic old paradigm. And I'm shifting into a place of like really, really prioritizing sleep. It affects everything. It affects my mood. It affects my appetite. It affects my creativity. It affects my spiritual connection. It affects how well I can parent my daughter. It affects how big of an impact I can make on the world. It affects my hormones, my energy, every single thing is affected by my sleep. And so I'm prioritizing that as like, this is a very, very, very important part of my life. And I'm not going to just like be willy-nilly about it. I'm going to learn how to optimize my sleep quality and really implement that. And when you start doing this, you start sleeping better and better. Your whole life gets more and more magical. You start to feel better than you've ever felt. You start to have more energy, more creativity, more vitality. You're in a better mood. You're more pleasant to be around. You're raising your vibration and attracting higher quality circumstances and people and all these things into your life because you're taking care of your sleep. And that's like one of the biggest aspects of your health. That's when your body heals itself and repairs itself. Dreams are really, really important. A lot of subconscious communication is happening through our dreams. And really, I subscribe to the belief that our body is the subconscious mind. And so anything happening in our body is kind of showing us what subconscious programs are running. And it's our body's way of communicating the subconscious to us. If there's a physical ailment inside your body, that's your subconscious trying to tell you something that you need to shift in your thoughts and your emotions and your behavior. So if you have anything, if you have like a knee injury and it's been, especially if something's chronic or persistent or it's been happening for a long time, really look into that. Anytime there's anything wrong with my body, pretty much the first thing that I do is I look up the spiritual connection behind that. So if I have knee pain, what's the spiritual cause of knee pain, or what does knee pain symbolize? You can literally go on Google and type in like spiritual meaning of eye infection or spiritual meaning of broken arm or whatever, like anything, especially if it's chronic, especially if it's been ongoing for a long time. That's pretty much where you're going to need to start is by first looking that up. And we'll talk about that more in just a minute. But first, I want to talk about a few ways to optimize your sleep, since that's just so important. It's something I've researched a lot, and it's something that I'm prioritizing more and more. The more I wake up, and the more I wake up, the more I'm learning how to sleep. So I basically started like realizing that sleep was super important. I started studying all these different books and podcasts and YouTube channels and listening to all these doctors and anything I could do to improve my sleep quality, and it massively changed my life so much. My life is so much better now that I'm sleeping better, and whenever I don't sleep well for a few nights, like my life, a lot of things fall off and go downhill in my life a little bit just from missing some sleep. I'm just not the same person. And I know a lot of, especially younger people, are like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Sleep doesn't matter. I'm fine without any sleep. And I used to be like that too. I used to, stay up all hours of the night and sleep whenever, get by on 3-4 hours. And for a long time I was fine. But what happens is your body will eventually tax you. You'll have to make up for that energy somewhere. You have to make up for that healing that you didn't get somewhere, whether that's manifests in you becoming sick and now you're forced to rest more, or you end up dying earlier in life, or you just don't have as much energy to deal with life's challenges. So a few things that you can do immediately to start improving your sleep. Number one is become aware that your sleep is like something you need to prioritize, and commit yourself to prioritizing that. Don't just think, Burnell's podcast was cool, I'm gonna start doing some of those things eventually. Decide to yourself, look yourself in the eyes and say, I'm committed to improving my sleep quality because I'm worth it. I love myself, I love this body, and I am going to make my life amazing by prioritizing my sleep. That's the first step. And then I'll share just a handful of helpful sleep tips, and then you can go back and listen to like my full episodes about it if you want to dive deeper. But first thing is, your bedroom is a sacred place for two things and two things only. That is sleep and sex. That means you don't work in your room. For me, I don't even meditate in my room. I don't scroll through my phone in my room. I don't I don't do anything besides sleep and sex in my room. And part of that is because your subconscious really starts to associate different spaces and environments with different types of patterns and energies and behaviors. So if you're constantly working in your room or doing something else besides sleep, then you go to lay down and your subconscious is like in work mode. For me, I used to always like work on my laptop while I was on my bed. And then at night, my mind would be racing about all these work things that I needed to get done. And I couldn't seem to quiet down my mind, and my mind would just be so busy. So I realized after learning some things that I was like, damn, my body thinks that I'm in work mode because this is where I work a lot. So my body thinks it's time to solve business problems and all these things when really it's time to sleep. So I cut that out, and since I did, now I just like I lay down in bed and I fall right to sleep. My mind doesn't think about any work stuff at all. So that's first thing is, getting rid of all distractions and electronics out of your room. Like I do not have any electronics in my room whatsoever. Um, I don't even have internet or TV at my house, period. So there's minimal electronics here to begin with. And when it is time to like go to bed, I have a nice high vibe nightly routine to get myself prepared for a good night's sleep. And I'll turn my phone off and put it in the other room. I turn off all the lights. Start to like prepare my sacred space for sleep. I'm blessing the house with crystals and sage and Palo Santos and essential oils and sound healing frequencies and things like that too. But I'm really keeping my bedroom a sacred place. The bedroom's kind of minimal. Like there's pretty much just all that's in there is just a bed and some art on the wall. And I've been sleeping so much better. I used to have a TV playing almost every night as I was falling asleep, and that really suppresses your melatonin production. Any type of artificial light after the sun goes down is not natural, and it messes up your melatonin production. And also taking exogenous melatonin can really hurt your melatonin production too. It's kind of like if you use lots of chapstick, then your lips get more chapped and you have to keep using it. So like, in a pinch, you really need to, you can take some melatonin, but it's not something you want to be taking consistently because it'll harm your body's natural production of melatonin, which is really like the sleep chemical, the sleep hormone. And it has lots of other important factors in your body as well. So you do not want to mess up your melatonin production. Some ways that you can increase your melatonin production is by sun gazing the first hour of the day and the last hour of the day. You don't want to look right at the sun anytime other than that because there's too much UV. But the first hour and the last hour, it's safe to look at the sun, and there's lots of benefits of that. It can improve your eye health. It can increase your melatonin production. It can help reset your circadian rhythms. I believe our bodies were designed to like work with the sun, and they kind of go to bed when the sun's down and wake up when the sun rises. And the more you can like get out into some natural light within the first like minute or two of waking up. Like my rule is like with the first 10 minutes of waking up, I gotta be outside barefoot grounding in the sun, doing my qigong and doing my whole morning routine, getting that natural light first thing before I look at any screens, before I even open my fridge and see the lights in my fridge. Like any type of artificial light can really hurt you. And even if you have a sleep mask on, your skin still absorbs light rays. So even if your eyes are closed, like if there's LED lights and other lights in your room, that is going to be affecting your sleep big time. So you want to get your room completely blacked out. Blackout curtains are a must. Even putting like little pieces of electrical tape over like a smoke detector if there's a tiny little green light on that. Like if you want to get like super deep with it, you can go to that level. Taking all electronics and distractions out of your room and just keeping your room a sacred space for sleep and sex. That's really crucial. And then another thing that really helps me sleep deeply and well is like I cut off my eating at least an hour, usually 2 hours before I go to sleep. I stop eating, and it's even better if you can do longer than that, because your body uses a lot of energy to digest food. And so you eat a bunch of food right before bed, you might get tired and stuff and pass out, but your body's not getting the healing that it needs because you can't get as much cellular regeneration and things like that when your body's using all of its resources towards digesting your food. So cut off your eating a bit before bed. Um, I don't take any type of sleep pills or supplements or anything that might mess up my body's natural ability to sleep. I do sometimes use like valerian root or some different like nighttime teas, like some lavender and chamomile, things like that. Um, but even those, I don't want to use them every single night because I want my body to naturally be able to sleep well without any external substances or whatever. And then binaural beats, isochronic tones, right frequencies, different sound healing modalities can really help. Um, with those, one way that I like to do it is, since I don't want to have electronics in my room necessarily, I might have like some Bluetooth headphones and I put my phone in the other room. And yeah, I'm probably still getting EMFs and things like that, but at least I'm not looking at a screen. So I really try to avoid artificial light after the sun goes down. And it's hard to be perfect, especially in the winter where I am. The sun goes down at like 5 or 6 p.m. I'm not going to just be in complete darkness, for the next 4 hours until I go to bed or whatever. But all of these things is about doing the best you can and making progress. Progress is way better than perfection. Always just strive to do a little bit better. If you can just make incremental changes, that can really help you. A few other things that can help your sleep is making sure you just get the right vitamins and minerals throughout your day, from natural whole foods. I eat a lot of walnuts because they help your body produce tryptophan, which is like that. It's like the thing in turkey. If you have, I don't eat meat, but if you eat turkey on Thanksgiving, you get all sleepy after. That's because of the tryptophan. So walnuts help have tryptophan. Tart cherry extract can really help you sleep as well too. A lot of people like to do just like a small teaspoon or two of honey, gives your brain this like sugar that it needs. And I don't know, for some reason honey helps a lot of people sleep. I don't personally like to do honey too much. I don't like to have the sugar right before bed, but every once in a while I do it, and it does help. So those are just a few little things. Again, I have a full episode, like an hour and a half long or something, all about optimizing your sleep for peak performance. So definitely check out that episode if you haven't yet. I go like deep into all the different things that help me sleep. But basically, I'm keeping my bedroom a sacred space, not doing anything other than sleep and sex, so my body's not associating all these other tasks and energies when I'm going to sleep. I'm not laying in bed thinking about all these work things that I need to do because I'm not working in my bed anymore. I'm not having arguments on my phone. Like if I need to have a difficult conversation with someone, I'm not going to do it on my bed. I'm not going to sit there on my bed and text them and be all stressed out and feeling all these negative emotions. Like if I'm feeling any type of lower vibe emotions, I usually like to go outside of my house and shake it out and do my thing. So like I don't get that energy all over my sleeping environment. So there's just a few things that help me, waking up and grounding, barefoot grounding and getting that sunlight the first 10 minutes of the day, doing a little sun gazing as the sun sets. I like to go on a nice little sunset walk sometimes. Meditating multiple times a day really helps clear the mind and make it so it's not so busy all the time and you're not like just racing thoughts as you're trying to fall asleep. And another cool thing that's really, really helped me that I wish I would have known years ago, because I used to have sleepless nights. Like you've probably experienced nights where you're so tired and you can't sleep and you're getting stressed out about it. And the more you try to sleep, the more stressed you get. And the more you're not sleeping, the more like upset and angry and irritable you're getting. And now you're thinking about how tomorrow's going to be thrown off and you're probably going to sleep through your alarm, or you're going to be way tired for work tomorrow or whatever. You start to stress because you can't sleep. So if there's ever a time when you're really struggling to sleep, just accept it. Just surrender to it. No, my body's not meant to sleep right now. Okay, no worries. Even if you feel super, super tired, just don't try to force it. When you try to force it, you create more tension, and like whatever you resist, persist, whatever you try to like combat and go against, you just like make that energy stronger. So just accept, oh, I'm not sleeping right now. Okay, no worries. and get up and do something else, journal, go on a little walk, meditate, do do something besides trying to force yourself to go to sleep, and just surrender to it. And it works like magic. All of a sudden you'll get tired. Like as soon as you like stop trying to force the sleep, boom, you might just fall asleep really easily. So I wish I would have learned that years ago, because there was nights I was like crying because I was so tired and I couldn't sleep, and I'm like punching my pillow like, oh, I just want to sleep, like, like, you know, um, being too hot can really mess up your sleep too. So the optimal temperature for human beings to sleep in is 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you do have a thermostat in your house, crank that down to 65, or even a little bit cooler if you want, before you go to bed, and just kind of keep your room cool. I like to have a fan blowing on me, kind of gives me some white noise, and that helps me sleep as well. Um, got got the blackout curtains blocking out all the artificial light. And sleeping with intention is really important. Really doing everything with intention. The more intentional you are about every single action you take, the more your life will start to go the ways you want it. So just before you go to sleep, set an intention. Tonight, my intention is that I'm going to sleep amazing. I'm going to wake up feeling super refreshed tomorrow. I'm going to wake up feeling healed and recharged, and I'm going to have fun dreams tonight, and I'm just going to wake up on cloud nine tomorrow. Try doing that before you go to bed. Start setting more intentions rather than just passing out. I used to just like pass out with my clothes on and my shoes on half the time. Hadn't even brushed my teeth yet, and I wake up all groggy in the middle of the night, like feeling like, what happened? So now I'm like a lot more intentional about getting prepared for sleep and setting an intention for how my sleep's going to be and how I'm going to wake up. And the more intentional you are about everything, your life just starts to really go ways that you want it. So those are just a few things. Trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head that really helps my sleep. I know dream journaling and journaling in general helps. Staying super hydrated, that just helps everything. Making sure to avoid stimulants like caffeine, chocolate, etc. Late at night. I usually cut myself off. Like I don't have any type of caffeine after 11 a.m. or noon. You don't need to cut off quite that early, but I've found that I sleep better when I don't have any stimulants later in the day. And then exercising, moving your body, getting your wiggles out, going on hikes, getting out in nature, doing qigong, yoga, all these things really help optimize your sleep, because you know that's essential for health and well-being all over the board. But really, if you haven't moved your body enough, you're going to be having a hard time sleeping. And if you go too hard working out and don't recover, then you might also have trouble sleeping because you might be sore and things like that too. So having a nice balance there is crucial. One supplement that I do recommend that I personally get through bath salts is just magnesium. Magnesium is crucial to sleep, so I take Epsom salt magnesium baths almost every day, and that's really helped me maintaining optimal magnesium levels, as well as just keeping all my vitamins and minerals on point. Definitely has helped my sleep. And the last thing I'll say about sleep is try to have a fulfilling, meaningful day. I always sleep really good at night when I feel like I use my energy in service to the world, in service to humanity. When I feel like I accomplished some goals, or I made some progress, I took a few steps in the right direction, I embodied high vibration, higher self habits, and I was in service to others, and I use my energy in a good way, then I feel good. I can sleep well at night knowing that I use my energy in a meaningful, beautiful way, and I feel good about how I lived my day. When I feel good about what I did that day, it's pretty easy to sleep, and then I'm not laying in bed with all these regrets and all these things that I forgot to do or didn't handle, or things that I procrastinated, or beating myself up about all these shortcomings and flaws. Giving myself a few things to kind of like feel good about, then I can lay in bed and feel like proud of myself and remember like a few good things that I did that day and feel like, heck yeah, like good job, Burnell. Get some good rest now. So that's all I'll say about sleep. It's 1/3 of our life. It's very important. Prioritize it. You are worth it. And the more you optimize your sleep, the better the rest of your life is gonna get. Because like I said, it's at least like 1/3 of your life if you're sleeping 8 hours a day, and it's dramatically impacting how you show up in the other 2/3. So um, that's I didn't think I was gonna go that deep on sleep on this episode, but it's so crucial. So I can't talk about it enough. Continue to just do everything you can to empower yourself and optimize your sleep and watch your whole life get better. So the first two pillars is your consciousness, thoughts and emotions, and then your sleep is the second one. And the third pillar that I think is probably the most important, one of the most important pillars of health, is hydration, water. I'm drinking the most amazing magical water that I've ever found in my life. It's called Kangen water. It's electrically charged, molecularly, I can never say molecularly um, structured, and it's just amazing magical water that's been helping raise my vibration. It's been ascending me into my higher chakras. It has been healing my body like crazy. I do not drink tap water. I do not drink bottled water. I do not drink alkaline water. A lot of that stuff is really toxic, really bad for you. Most bottled water is just tap water with sodium bicarbonate in it, which is baking soda. So if you're buying like Essentia alkaline water, basically you're paying $4 to pollute the environment, and you're just drinking tap water with baking soda in it. So it's not good for your body. It's not good for the environment. And nothing I say on here is ever to like judge you or make you feel bad or anything like that, or act like I'm holier than thou, or like I'm definitely not walking on water over here. Your boy has a lot of growing to do. So I'm never trying to make anyone feel bad or act like holier than thou or anything like that. I'm just passionate about sharing things that have helped me, because that's just how we can help each other rise up. And definitely want to make sure that everything I say is always coming from a space of love and compassion, because I really do care about us, about our environment, and just about this whole universe, really, like deeply. I love this experience so much. So anything that I can share that's helped me, I'm passionate about sharing it, and I'm trying to be mindful about how I share it so I don't come across like I'm talking down on anyone or anything like that. But anyway, I used to drink tons and tons of bottled water, and it was a step up, because before that I was not hydrating myself at all. I was just drinking soda and juice and all these things that dehydrate you and that put lots of toxic things into your body and just harm your health all overall. So it was a step up originally to start drinking bottled water, because at first I wasn't drinking enough water at all. And when I got bottled water, at least I was like drinking some water. But the thing is about normal, like bottled water and stuff like that, is like you can only absorb about 15% of that water. So that's why I was often like bloated with all this water weight, and I was drinking tons of water and not even being hydrated because I'm only absorbing a fraction of it. Versus like this Kangen water that I'm drinking, your body can absorb like 85% of that. So I'm getting way more hydrated. And it's such a high frequency water. So I'll probably do like a full episode all about the Kangen water soon, and I'll bring on some people that are way more knowledgeable about it than I am, interview them and have them drop some wisdom about it. But hydration is so key. So most people's trajectory in water starts like they're not drinking enough, and then they go to like tap water, and then they realize, oh, there's fluoride in that's calcifying your pineal gland, and that's has all these toxic chemicals in it, and it goes through all these rusty pipes, and just, yeah, not good. So then they realize, all right, I don't want to drink tap water anymore. I'm going to start drinking bottled water. So then they start going to Costco or whatever and buying cases and cases of bottled water. And then they find out, oh, that's just tap water, and all I'm doing is drinking tap water and polluting the environment. And sometimes they just put little chemicals in there to make it taste good, or then they step up and they're like, oh, I want to be alkaline, because they hear disease can't exist in an alkaline state. It can only exist in an acidic state. So everyone wants to be alkalized, which is key. And that's why I eat a mostly alkaline diet, um, high vibration fruits and vegetables, and lots of living water to stay alkalized. So people start learning about that, and they think, okay, I'm going to buy a bunch of alkaline water. And this is where I was like a couple years ago. I started drinking alkaline water, and it's more expensive. You feel like it tastes better. You feel like you're getting the good stuff. You're like, I'll get this alkaline water. It's that 9.5 pH. What's up? And then you kind of realize, oh, that's just tap water with baking soda in it, and I'm polluting the environment like crazy. Um, so then you get one of those 5-gallon jugs, and you start going and filling up at like a water and wellness type center, or even like a grocery store when you're getting the reverse osmosis, or you might be going to spring water. That's what I did for a while. I was going and filling up my jug in an actual spring in the mountains, and that at least has natural minerals, and it hasn't been treated by man. It hasn't had any chemicals or anything added to it, and it's really good water. But even that is not quite as high of a vibration as the Kangen water that I'm drinking now. So that's kind of most people's trajectory, is like they start with like no water, then they go to like tap water, then they're on bottled water, then they're on like reverse osmosis or spring water, and then they eventually like start tapping into the Kangen water, and that's pretty much like the cream of the crop, so to speak. So that's what I'm drinking now. I've never felt better in my life. Just profound benefits to drinking that water. I'm on higher vibration, recovering from workouts faster, sleeping better, healing my digestion, way less bloating. My skin is more clear. My hair and nails are better. Like everything is better on this water. So that's kind of the third pillar. First pillar was the consciousness. Second pillar was the sleep. Third pillar is hydration. And if you can't get a Kangen machine yet, at least you can go stepping up from wherever you were. If you're on tap water, you can start maybe get a 5-gallon jug and start filling up some reverse osmosis water or some spring water, and you'll at least feel like quite a bit better just making that shift. Like I know I felt way better and started drinking more and all that, and then I found out about Kangen water, and now I can't go back. Now that I've had the best, and like you don't really know what it's like to be dehydrated until you've actually been fully hydrated. Once you've been fully hydrated, then you realize what you've been missing. Like I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, damn, I didn't even know my life was that bad, because I didn't know how good it could be. Like now that my life is like where it's at now, it's so good that I look back on my old ways and I'm like, how was I living like that? How was I like, I didn't, so you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know how good it can be until you've experienced it. And once you've experienced something better, it's hard to go back. It's like now that I've experienced what it feels like to be a person who eats super healthy and hydrates and sleeps well and works out and does all these things and surrounds myself with good people. Now that I know what it's like to feel this good, I realize how shitty it was to feel like I didn't even know that I was feeling that shitty back when I was just like chain smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, eating fast food, hanging out with low vibe cats. Like I didn't even know. Like I thought everything was fine, and now that I've stepped up to the level, I'm like, whoa. And like I hope I'm gonna keep evolving like that. I hope in like 5 years from now I'm gonna look back. Right now I'm 29 years old. Like I hope when I'm like 35, I'll look back and be like, dude, I can't believe when I was 29 I was living like that. I thought I was thriving, but now I'm thriving so much more. It's like hard to even imagine like going back to anything like that. So it's all about making consistent progress, continuously evolving. Ask yourself, are my habits causing me to evolve or revolve? Are my thoughts and emotions causing me to evolve or revolve? Are you doing the same thing over and over again? Are you running in circles, or are you evolving? Are you growing and getting better? And the choice is yours. Every moment is a new choice on what you're thinking and feeling and what actions you're taking. So constantly making progress. It's not about being perfect. It's not about blaming yourself or beating yourself up. It's just about taking responsibility for your own quality of life, because you deserve it. And the more you can fall in love with life and fall in love with yourself, the more you realize like you deserve to have optimal peak levels of health and just feel absolutely amazing. You deserve to have the type of energy where you can just like run up a mountain, and where you can like be of service to humanity, and where you can like, you just feel good, and you feel like you have tons of vitality surging through you, and blissful energy just pumping through your veins. Like, that's your natural state. People have grown up and been so oppressed and so programmed by society and family, and all in their environment, and all the and food and everything, like big pharma, all this stuff has programmed us to thinking that it's normal to be sick. It's normal to be lethargic and tired. It's normal to be stressed out. It's If you look at look at like any kid under the age of 5, do they express any of those qualities? Like, no, they are full of energy. They are full of vitality and vibrance, and they can run and play all day. Like there's a different type of level of energy, and that's, partially because they haven't aged as much with, oxidation and all the, pollutants and all these things in the environment. But the environment is only part of the equation, the environment and our genes are only part of the equation. Really, like, our consciousness is the biggest piece of the puzzle. So if you look at little kids and see how they are, that's how we're naturally supposed to be. When I saw my daughter, I realized, whoa, like, she has way more energy than me. She is vibrant and happy and healthy and just always ready to go. So I started just learning her ways and adopting her behavior and trying to be more like her, because I realized, wait, that's how I'm supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be getting tired and stressed out and busy and anxious and all these different things that I'm feeling. Like, those have a place. All emotions are teachers. But I'm not supposed to be like trapped in any of those feelings, or that shouldn't be like accepted as the normal. The normal should be like, we have tons of health and vitality, and we look amazing, and we keep getting stronger and healthier. That should be the normal. We've just been programmed differently. So I'm kind of waking up the new normal of like health and vitality and vibrance. That's my natural state. And anything that takes me away from my natural state doesn't serve me anymore, and it's time to let go of it. So I'm doing what's called rewilding. I'm getting back to my wild self. I'm getting back to nature. I'm getting back to my animal self that knows what to do intuitively to heal myself, to take care of myself. I haven't been to a doctor in 15 years. I haven't been to and all forms of healing have their place. I'm not to like put down doctors. I learned lots of amazing things from incredible doctors. I'm just empowering myself and equipping myself with what nature provided me already, and tapping into my natural state of well-being. The more I go out in nature, the more I eat natural foods, the less I expose myself to artificial light and artificial frequencies and artificial chemicals and all these toxic things that are just so prominent in our society today, the healthier I feel. So, turn off the TV, go outside, take off the shoes. You weren't meant to wear shoes. You're meant to be barefoot on the ground. Let's get rid of all these pills and all these chemicals and all these things that are not naturally just found in nature. Like, I honestly believe that Mother Earth provides everything we need to heal and thrive, and if we can work in harmony with her, we will be naturally taken care of, like, so abundantly. All of us will have all of our needs met, and we will be thriving just like we were supposed to be. Like, I'm just looking out in my yard right now, and there's like 5 different medicinal plants that are just naturally growing that I didn't even plant, that just kind of like people a lot of times call them weeds, and they take them out, like, to these dandelions that I'm looking at. These are like one of the healthiest things. It's so detoxing. It's so good to clean out your liver, and so many benefits from dandelions, and yet people spray chemicals on them and pull them out of their yards because we're just ignorant. We're programmed to, like, they don't know that that's a medicine. They're just like told that that's a weed, so they should get rid of it because they want their lawn to look a certain way. And like, I don't know how the hell grass apparently looks better than a beautiful yellow flower. I think dandelions look amazing. Love them. But we're told, oh, that's a weed, so we should get rid of it, when we don't even realize. Like, so how many things like that have we been programmed on? Like, we're just cutting down medicine, building land on top of nature's medicine gardens, we're cutting down actual natural medicine to like build labs and build warehouses that can make pills that really hurt us and have nasty side effects. Um, and my mom died from big pharma, basically. Like they just put her on all these really crazy medications and prescriptions, and those are what killed her. The actual same thing with my grandpa. It wasn't even actually the cancer that killed him. It was the chemotherapy that they tried to, treat him with. All that radiation they tried to treat the cancer with. If he had gone with the more holistic approach, same with my mom. If she had gone the nature route, she might still be with us. And everything happens for a reason. So I'm just pointing out like what I've noticed, and I know this is nothing new to a lot of my listeners because you guys are pretty elevated in your consciousness. It's just helpful to have these reminders and remember, like, yo, nature provides everything we need. We do not need to look to all the, and all these chemicals. And same thing with like cleaning supplies in your house. Like I use Kangen water to clean my house. I haven't sprayed any chemicals in my house in a long time. I use natural hand soaps, natural laundry detergent, natural shampoo and conditioner. And just because something's natural doesn't always make it healthy for you. You gotta like really kind of understand the ingredients that's in everything. 'Cause sometimes, especially marketers will say things like all natural. Like if you look on the back ingredients of some of your food and it says natural flavors, don't eat it. They're not natural. They're GMO. Unless if it says like flavored from blueberries or something, that's slightly different. But it says a natural blueberry flavor, like, you're not really sure what that, because there's a lot of like leeway and a lot of hoops that they can jump through to sell us stuff and make it sound healthy when it's really not. So that's another big pillar, is just starting to understand food, starting to understand what goes into our body. And our diet is more than just food. It's what we watch, it's what we scroll, it's what we click on, it's who we hang out with, it's all these things in our environment. These are all part of our diet. And so we can't be perfect, but we can always make progress, and we can always learn more and empower ourselves by educating ourselves. A lot of our suffering just comes from ignorance, and a lot of that ignorance can be pretty easily cured through education. So we start to wake up to what's actually in our foods. To me, if a food has like more than 5 or 6 ingredients, it's probably not going to be the best for me. It's probably highly processed. If something has a super, super long shelf life, that means chances are probably not good for me. Because if I just look at things in nature, most of the time, it just comes out of the ground and it's ready to go just as it is by itself, without being cooked, without being processed, without being cut with anything, without anything being added to it, without just natural. So start to be aware of what's in your food. What are you putting into your body? Because you are what you eat. So the first pillar, consciousness. Second pillar, sleep. Third pillar, hydration. Fourth pillar, food, nutrition, and just like waking yourself up to what you're actually consuming, because you are becoming what you eat. Our bodies are mostly water, and our bodies are literally made up of the energy that we're consuming, like both through food and through who we hang out with and like what I'm watching on Instagram. All these things are affecting my beingness and my frequency. So if I'm eating foods that have toxic chemicals sprayed on those, then I am becoming toxic chemicals, and I'm going to be thinking and feeling a certain way based on how those chemicals are interacting with my biochemistry. Same thing with one of the main reasons I stopped eating meat years ago was because I started learning that the animals, when they get tortured and poisoned and killed and all these things that happen to them, in order for me to get meat, all of that energy is going into my body. So I am literally becoming the energy of torture. I'm becoming the energy of oppression. I'm becoming the energy of greed, because a lot of these factory farm, big corporations, they're not in it for the planet. They're not in it for your health. They're not in it for any benevolent reasons. They're just in it for their own greed, their own pocketbook. So they'll cut corners. They'll do whatever it takes to make the highest amount of profit possible, even if that means highly, highly hurting you, the consumer, and highly, highly hurting the planet and the animals. And it's like they don't care who they hurt as long as they make lots of money. That disgusts me, and that is just heartbreaking. So I started learning that and realizing I don't want to become that. If an animal is in a frequency of fear when it gets killed, like a cow gets pushed through all these corrals and tortured and just treated like shit, and if that cow is in a low vibration frequency, especially as it's getting killed, it's releasing all this fear and toxins into its meat, and then I'm eating that meat, and I'm eating those toxins, I'm eating those lower vibrations, and then I'm going to be thinking lower quality thoughts. I'm going to be having lower quality emotions. I'm going to be making lower quality choices. All of my whole entire life is going to be affected by what I put into my body. So I need to be super conscious and super mindful about what I consume and don't consume, and how I consume it and when I consume it, and all of these things. And I'm not saying that you should never eat meat or you should never eat animal products or what. I'm not even 100% vegan at this point. I am down for, I think, most of us would be benefit from like being mostly vegan or mostly vegetarian at least. But I don't, from a health standpoint, I know I've researched lots of benefits from like collagen, and lots of benefits from grass-fed, grass-finished meats, and lots of benefits from like cage-free eggs and stuff like that. Like they can have lots of benefits for certain people's health depending on your microbiome. It's just a matter of like, where are you sourcing it from? How is that affecting the environment? Like I said in my last episode, if any piece of the earth, if any animal, if any being is harmed in the process of your goods getting to you, then you are ultimately responsible. It's not these fucked up corporations that are torturing cows. It's you that's torturing cows by purchasing that McDonald's, by purchasing that Wendy's or whatever. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just letting you know what's up. Like, this is you are responsible because you are the one purchasing it. And if you're purchasing it, these companies are going to keep making whatever you purchase. And if we as the consumers stop purchasing things that we don't agree with, that don't align with our morals and values, these companies will be forced to take action, and we will make the world better by voting with our dollar. If all of us stopped buying McDonald's, they said, you know what? If 10 million people tomorrow didn't order McDonald's because it's not grass-fed and not grass-finished and it's not sustainable, then I guarantee McDonald's would come out with a grass-fed, grass-finished burger or something like next week, or they'd come out with some vegan thing, or like they would adapt because they want to make their money. They're going to do whatever it takes to make. Whoops, I accidentally cut myself off. But they're going to do whatever it takes to make the money. So we as the consumers are the ones that are responsible. We're the ones that are in power. We can't expect all these big companies that have been making billions of dollars for years, run by some 90-year-old white dude who's ignorant as fuck and doesn't care. They're not going to change their ways. We can't expect them to change their ways and like, oh, once they change their ways, then the world will be better. It's like, no, it's on us. We need to change our ways. We need to switch up how we're consuming and be more mindful and conscious about what we spend our dollar on, because that's ultimately what we are empowering. That is what we are creating more of. If a billion people keep going to McDonald's and McDonald's doesn't have any reason to change their ways, they're just going to keep making the same bullshit toxic products and keep hurting the environment like they've always done, because that's how they make lots of money, and that's what we want because that's what we buy. So it's on us. I know I might sound a little harsh and a little critical right now. I get a little bit fired up around this, but it's really born out of love and compassion. I'm trying to really ground myself in that, and hopefully that comes across, that I'm coming from just like a caring place. When I get a little bit turned up like that, it's because I care so much, and I'm just like, I love this planet and I love our people, and I want us to all thrive, and I want our children and our grandchildren to thrive. So it's time to really look at our ways and really shift our frequency up and really become conscious about what we're putting in our bodies. And just because something's vegan or vegetarian certainly does not mean it's healthy for you. There is so much junk food out there in the vegan world. I know lots of junk food vegans that basically eat like Oreos. Oh, their Oreos are vegan, and like, all sorts of candy and bullshit, and like getting the oh, Taco Bell come out with a vegan taco now, like, yeah, it might be better than like their other tacos, but so big, give yourself praise if you're making some progress, whatever level you're on, but just don't be tricked by marketing and advertising because there's so many products, even at the health food stores. Like I've been waking up some of my homies to health lately, and they go to the health food store and they think, oh, just because they're shopping at Natural Grocers, they can buy anything in there and they don't need to look at the label. And they're just like, oh, it's healthy because I got it from Natural Grocers, or oh, it's healthy because it was at Sprouts or Whole Foods or whatever. Like, no, they sell lots of junk food there too. It's usually a little bit better junk food than some of the mainstream stores like a Walmart or whatever. Um, but don't be fooled by the packaging. The packaging will always try to make something sound healthier than it is. Like cereal, like how many times as a kid did they put a commercial where it was a bowl of cereal that had like probably more sugar than a can of soda and just a bunch of like corn syrup and a bunch of toxic grains and all these things that are really bad for you, and they would say part of a complete breakfast and like doctor recommended, mother approved, and just all this crazy messaging about how healthy it is. Like, I grew up thinking that cereal was super healthy. I ate, yeah, like I remember like if I was eating like Reese's Puffs or something, I was like maybe that's not as healthy. But if I was eating like Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios, like oh this is really good for me. Oh yeah, I'm crushing it. Or even like some Raisin Bran. Oh, I'm super healthy today with some Raisin Bran, but it's really got 40 grams of sugar per bowl and all this and other added bullshit. Um, so read the labels and the ingredients. If something has more than 7 ingredients, usually not the best for you. And if something, it might seem super healthy, but then it's also got safflower oil and sunflower oil and canola oil in it, and like it's like almost healthy, but it has a few things, preservatives and whack things added to it to help the company be able to have a longer shelf life and make more profit and cut corners, and or it's just not sustainable, or it's taken from a country where the people are oppressed. Like if you're eating non-organic strawberries and you don't know where they're coming from, a lot of times they're coming from basically slave labor, where these oftentimes Mexican people are sitting there in 100-degree weather picking strawberries all day for like $2 a day, and then we're out here buying this packaged plastic strawberries with a bunch of chemicals sprayed on it, and we're also like adding to the oppression of these people. And it's like, again, I'm not trying to get dark here. I'm not trying to make any of us feel bad. I'm just trying to like start painting the picture of how we can wake up. So if we start to look at like the ingredients rather than the marketing and the packaging, and really understanding what the ingredients are. If you don't know what an ingredient is, don't put it in your body. Simple as that. Google it. What is X, Y, and Z? If you're about to buy something and you turn it over and on the list of ingredients there's something you don't recognize, what's maltodextrin? I don't know. Like let me Google that real quick and see what the side effects are, what the benefits are, why it's used, where it comes from. And then I really research the companies that I'm supporting. And if I find out that a company is all about the environment and sustainability and fair trade and just conscious, more like they're just more conscious about how they're doing things, and they care about the world and they care about people's health more than they just care about their own profits, those are the companies I really get behind, and I like to represent and support them. And so I actually have a blog post. I'll put a link to it in the description, which is like, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was like a bunch of healthy snacks that I found online that are like from good companies that you can feel good about supporting. Certain, if I'm going to buy one brand of tea versus another one, and one of them is like $1 more, but they, like for example, Numi Tea, Numi, I like them. They're a good company. It's typically like $1 or $2 more per box of tea than all the other teas on the shelf. And I like to buy that one because not only is it organic and it tastes good and makes me feel good, I've researched the owners. The owners are compassionate, good people. I follow them on Instagram. They're all about helping farmers and helping the farmers' children and helping the communities from where their tea is grown and like giving back to the earth. And they're they're conscious about how they're doing it. They're down to make some profit, but they don't want to make profit at the expense of our environment or the expense of our people or the animals or anything like that. So I really support companies like that, and I'm really just becoming more and more aware of what's going into my body. If I don't know what something is, I am not going to consume it. I'm going to do some research on it. I will sit there in the grocery store for 15 extra minutes on Google before I make a purchase if I need to. And if I'm not quite sure, I'll go home and I'll read some articles about it, do some research on it, and decide if that's something that I want to consume. Is that something that I want to be? Is that something I want to become? Then, if not, then I'm not going to buy it. So another thing too is just blessing all your food and water. It's conscious, it's living. Say thank you to it, appreciate it, talk to it, bless it with good energy, and it'll bless you back. I always, before I eat any meal, I'll put my hands over it and just say, thank you for this meal. Please bless and nourish me. I'm so grateful for you. I appreciate you being in my life. And yeah, just really putting some conscious intention into whatever I'm consuming goes a long, long way. So those are a few pillars of health. Those are like the first, like kind of like four main things is our consciousness, our sleep quality, our hydration, and then our nutrition, our food. And then like the fifth main pillar is exercise and movement. The more we move our bodies in fun, healthy ways, the better we're going to feel, obviously. The more we get out in nature, go on hikes, do things like breath work, qigong, meditation. I guess meditation is not a movement at all, but that should probably just be like the sixth pillar altogether. It's just meditation, because you can just heal every part of your body through meditation. But that's more in alignment with the first pillar, which is just consciousness. So the word meditate means to become familiar with. So you just become more familiar with what's going on in your consciousness and what's going on in the mind and what's going on in the body. You become super familiar with all these things, and then the more familiar you are with something, the more you can have it go in your favor. So it's all about bringing awareness, because you can't change something that you're not aware of, and you can't improve something that you're not even aware of if you don't even know it's a problem or whatever. So those are the main pillars. I'm all about qigong, shaking the energy out of my body, moving and releasing all the issues that are stored in my tissues. So I exercise a lot. I practice yoga, practice breath work, barefoot grounding, spend an abundance of time out in nature, surrounding yourself with good people, your community. I'll just go ahead and say that the sixth pillar is community and tribe, because we become like the people we surround ourselves with. So if you surround yourself with healthy people, you're going to naturally tap into higher levels of health and wellness. Just by being around them, you'll absorb their energy. You'll start to pick up their habits. Language is really important. How are you talking about yourself and your health? How are you, if you're saying, I feel like shit, or like that's a low vibration. That's a creative statement. And you're creating your words are your wands, like abracadabra, as I speak, so I create. So whatever you're talking about, thinking about, you're bringing about, and how you're holding your body, like just your posture and how you stand really impacts your health and impacts your emotions. All these things are like a big circle that all impact each other. There's not one of these pillars that can be ignored and expect to thrive. So like surround yourself with really good people and people that talk positive about their health and about the environment and everything, and you'll start to just be naturally more like them. If you hang out with a bunch of people that just chain smoke cigarettes and eat nothing but fast food and drink hella booze and all these things like that, that is going to lower your vibration, and you're going to naturally pick up a lot of their habits and traits. So find some healthy expanders, find some people in your life that embody the levels of health and wellness that you wish to embody, and just start consciously going out of your way to spend more time with them and learn from them and be around them more. And one of the biggest things that really transitioned my health when, like, I'd say about 6, 7 years ago, I was like so unhealthy. I didn't even know it, but I'd wake up every day and have like a cup of like super sugary coffee and a bunch of cigarettes, and then, you know, probably eat some like McDonald's for lunch and some pizza at 3 in the morning, and then drink a bunch of alcohol and like not sleep and not go out and eat, like all these things. I was basically doing the opposite of everything I talk about now. And one of the things that helped me transition out of that is I found like a healthy tribe, or at least a healthier tribe. I started going to this nutrition club that was like next door to this office that I lived at. And just being around other people that even cared about their health. They were trying to like lose weight and gain muscle. They were trying to look and feel better. They were trying to just improve their lifestyle. And so just being around them made me want to improve my lifestyle more. And then I kept learning more and more. That's when I first learned about like my macronutrients of like what are calories, and what's the difference between carbs and proteins and fat, and just learning all these different things about health just by being around them. And I started to build a community around health and wellness, and I had a tribe that cared about that, so I could go be around them. And the more I was hanging out with them, the more I cared about my health and wellness, the more I wanted to be healthy, the more I got inspired by the people that were just crushing it and wanted to be like them, because I saw how, oh, they feel amazing, they look amazing, I want to be like that. And so just surrounding yourself with tribe, that should just be the sixth pillar for sure, is like your community. So first pillar, consciousness, thoughts, emotions, everything's a frequency. Second pillar, improving, optimizing your sleep quality. Third pillar, hydration, tapping into that living water. Fourth pillar, nutrition, really understanding what you're consuming, what foods is going into your body, what are the ingredients, not being fooled by marketing, and becoming a conscious consumer. And then lastly, the last pillar is tribe, community. We become like the people we surround ourselves with. So if we can if we can just work on improving all these pillars, we are on our way to extraordinary levels of vitality and well-being, more than we've ever imagined. Like, you deserve to have that level of health where you feel amazing every day. You wake up stoked and energized, and you're still going to have your off days. You're still going to stumble and slip sometimes. So it's about progress. It's about being committed to the path. Every time you fall off, just keep getting back on, and just keep growing. This does not happen overnight. My health journey has been evolving for 7 years. Before that, I wasn't really mindful about it, but it started in small ways. I first wanted to shift because I saw it was possible. And I started to become a little bit fed up with my health. But you don't need to wait till you hit rock bottom. You don't need to wait until you're sick in order to start improving, And people think that eating healthy is expensive, but the doctor is way more expensive. Ask all my, elders and, older people in my family that have spent crazy amounts of money on hospitals and prescriptions and stuff. Ask my mom, who was spending like $10,000 to $20,000 a month trying to keep herself alive because she didn't do all these preventative things first, because she waited till shit hit the fan before she started getting treatment. And then all these hospitals and big pharmas were programmed and designed systemically to keep her sick because they want to make optimal profit off her. It is not in their best interest to actually heal her. It is in their best interest to just keep her alive long enough, but keep needing them. And just, if they heal you, then they don't make any money off you after you're healed. But if they keep you sick, then you keep needing them. You keep having to buy more and more stuff. And that might sound like a conspiracy. I just think it's how our system was designed. Whether it was designed that way with malicious intent, or if it just happened to be designed like that, doesn't really matter. I think a lot of doctors and nurses and people in the medical field start out with really good intentions, but then they come into a system to where it's all based around money, and it's all based around old ideals and old paradigms that are not always the most effective and oftentimes quite harmful. You know, there's a lot of people dying from malpractice. There's a lot of people dying from um, these cancer treatments are killing more people than cancer is actually killing. So we need to get back into nature, rewild ourselves, get grounded with Mother Earth, and tap into our inner child and tap into that infinite well of natural vitality and natural health that is our normal state. That is like what it's supposed to be normal. Being sick and depressed and anxious and all that stuff has been normalized. Now it's time to re-normalize health and wellness, and I think a lot of us are going to start to be living longer and longer. I think 50 is the new 20. Like, I'm seeing all sorts of healthy people that are like way older than me that are in amazing shape, that are conscious of all this stuff. And I just think that, you know, in the next generations to come, we're going to have a lot more technology and we're going to create a lot more healthy options that are available. You know, because it's so hard to even like blame my grandparents and my parents for how they raised us and how, because they didn't know any better. Like, my mom genuinely thought that like giving me bread and cereal and stuff was good for me, because that's just what she was taught. She didn't really know any better, and she didn't. And like, my parents grew up drinking, and probably, you know, like most of my whole family, they're all super Mormon, so they drink crazy amounts of Diet Coke. I don't know if that's like a Mormon thing or something, but my whole extended family and a lot of other super Mormon people I know, they drink lots and lots of Diet Coke, and then they eat lots of like fat-free chips and like stuff like that. That's like in their mind, they think it's healthy because they just don't know any better. So they think, oh, it's a diet, it's better than regular Coke. No, this doesn't have any sugar in it, but then it's got all this artificial sweeteners that cause cancer and just like are terrible on our health and ruin our microbiome and totally disintegrate our mitochondria. And like, a lot of that's just ignorance. So it's not about blaming, it's not about self-righteousness, it's about just educating each other, educating ourselves, empowering ourselves, and waking up to new levels of health and wellness, because we deserve it, and the planet deserves it, and our children and grandchildren deserve it. So I get passionate about this stuff. I hope that it's not coming across as any type of anger or any type of, and there probably is little bits and pieces of that I'm working through still, but it's really born out of love and compassion and just caring, like a deep caring. I just want everyone to thrive. And as I've made these shifts for myself, I started to feel so much better. I just want to shout it from the mountaintops and just help everyone feel better. Like, everyone, let's eat living foods, let's drink living water, let's sleep good, let's practice meditation and mindfulness, and let's be more intentional, and let's spend more time in nature. Like, all these things I'm passionate about, and I really, because it's helped me so much, and I know it helps millions of other people too. So anytime I can come on here and share these tips with you, I know it's worth my time, because I know at the very least, at least one person listening to this is going to go home and make some changes. Maybe it's a small change. Maybe you get like a non-toxic mouthwash instead of your Listerine, because you found out that was like killing the microbiome in your mouth. You know, like, or you switch from buying bottled water to like you get a 5-gallon jug and you start filling up. You hit me up and you get into that Kangen water or something. I know at least a few of us listening are just gonna make small shifts in our lives and just keep improving bit by bit. And so this is so worth the hour and 15 minutes that I spent recording this and speaking from the heart. I didn't even really have like any of this stuff written down or planned. I was like freestyling it because I just felt inspired to come on here and talk about doing all these things. And I just remembered at the very beginning in the episode I mentioned doing a spiritual oil change, and that's just a quick metaphor for doing all of these things, like getting rid of all the things that no longer serve us. Because a lot of times, you know, with our things like cars, or people update their iPhone more than they update their own consciousness. People give their car an oil change more often than they detox their body. So It's time that we all do like a spiritual oil change. And what that means is let's get rid of all the things that no longer serve us. Let's periodically, every few months or as needed, let's declutter. Let's organize. And I'm talking physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Um, let's let's flush out the old fluids and let's bring in the new fluids. That's why I'm a big fan of fasting. I'm a big fan of detoxing and cleansing. I'm a big fan of giving your body the space and time that it needs to heal whenever it needs it. And I'm also a big fan of like keeping my environment clean and just getting rid of anything that no longer serves us, any stagnant energy, kind of doing an oil change every so often, a metaphysical oil change, getting all the old stuff flushed out, bringing all new goodness in, and that'll help keep us running at an optimal level. I think a lot of car analogies were hitting me today because I was like, man, there's so many people that like they take really good care of their car, but they don't take good care of their health, or they get oil changes and iPhone updates all the time, but when is the last time they did a fast or a cleanse or anything like that, or went on a retreat or hired a coach or did something to reset and recalibrate their more important energy system? So that is a long-winded, heartfelt episode all about tapping into new levels of health and wellness, abundant vitality. I'm sending you all the love, all the healing, all the blessings. May your mind, your body, and spirit feel cleansed and refreshed and recharged. May you go have an amazing rest of your day and an amazing rest of your week. I hope to hear from you, letting me, know little changes that you're making. If you switched up your water game, or if you started being more conscious about the foods that you're buying, anything like that, shoot me a message. Let me know the value that you got from this podcast, and let's just keep spreading the good vibes. Keep waking the love up. I'm sending you peace and all the richest blessings from the center of my heart. Love you so, so, so much. I will see you soon on another episode. Wake the love up.